Hello everyone and welcome back to Unconventional GMs. I'm Gaz, one of your hosts, and today I am the keeper for Regency, Call of Cthulhu. This is an extended session, so it's actually part 3. We're playing open, so we're seeing how long it lasts for however many sessions, but I suspect this may be the last one. So if this is the first time seeing one of the Cthulhu games we're playing, I suggest you head over to the playlist and start from episode 1, as this will make a whole lot more sense, and obviously you'll get to see our delightful players with their excellent skills for a few more hours before you get to this episode. Last time we finished on a cliffhanger, so it's really important that you go back and at least listen to the second one, if not all of them. Or you can enjoy it in media res. That's up to you. I'm not your boss. We play these games for about 2 hours with Vim and Vigor, and what I'll do now is get my fellow players to introduce themselves and who they're playing, and then we're just going to jump straight back into some action. And I'll try and give you a quick précis at home so that you understand what's going on and can remind yourselves of what the situation is. So who better to start with than my fellow Unconventional GM, Mr. Guy Milner?
Hello, yes, I'm the other co-host of Unconventional GMs, and I am also blogging at the Burn After Running blog about one-shots and fast, short scenarios like this. I'm playing tonight Dr. Algernon Drake, a medical man who is really keen on being on the cutting edge of medicine. However, as the weekend at the manor has worn on in the previous 2 sessions, he's become a little bit more conservative as medical practices go, as he's discovered what's been going on in the manor. And it's fair to say he's probably looking forward to going back to his little country practice and just treating little old ladies who had a fall and people with a case of the vapours. At the moment, he's quickly thinking that he might be in over his head, as you will soon, no doubt, find out when we start playing. So, yeah, that's me.
Excellent. Our other gentleman is Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon Rogers, co-owner of Pelgrane Press and Pro Fantasy Software. And I am playing Captain Charles Oakley, who has recently returned from Nepal. He was a member of the Corps of Royal Military Artificers, and he experienced some rum things in Nepal. Now he's come back here and with absolute inevitability has ended up with his saber drawn, fighting a servitor of the Mythos.
Lovely stuff. And then we have Alina.
Hello, I'm Elena, and I am playing Mrs. Gillingham, a widow, well-traveled, very curious, and likes to explore nature and collect weird plants and beetles. She has traveled to South America, has seen a lot of weird things, and is not currently dead.
That's important, not technically dead.
And then stop that now. Currently, 2 minutes in, not currently dead.
Yeah, it's a new record. And then the last of our ladies is Tasha.
Hi, I'm Tasha, co-founder and one of the permanent hosts of Idea Roll, Ukrainian tabletop RPG actual plays channel. And tonight, as in the previous games, I'm playing Miss Voss, who is a woman knowledgeable of occult and dark magic, but she is about to discover that probably all of her dark magic is not capable of saving her against big men armed with some horrible weapons.
Well, let's play to find out. Thank you, players, for introducing yourselves. So, as a quick reminder for our viewers, just in case you're coming back after a short break, the players have gone to Fitzwilliam, or the characters anyway, have gone to Fitzwilliam Manor. The strange things happening. The Lord has been out of sorts, and they quickly discovered that not only he, but several other people are having personality changes as well. That guests and staff are going missing. That there's weird technology and devices being used here too. And then there was the discovery of animal bodies, which brings me on to our content warning. So for everybody watching, just to be sure, this is a Call of Cthulhu game, so you can expect death, dismemberment, psychological trauma, all kinds of things like that. So just be aware if you're of a sensitive disposition. The characters then found that evening that another guest had arrived, the son-in-law, and he seemed to be quite angry and wanted to know what was happening to Arkwright, who'd gone missing, and various things like that. And before really could get into the details of what was really going on, a strange mist had descended upon Fitzwilliam Manor,
and there were screams of the locals in the distance. People were dying, strange coloured lights in the sky. And although the characters tried to investigate some of the outbuildings, like the Hermitage or the Rotunda, they were forced back by a terrible and natural freezing fog with the screams of the dying in their ears. They confronted Lady Fitzwilliam, at which point she set Felton, her Hilpian manservant, upon them, who behaved like a rabid dog, and then asked Jenkins to beat one of the ladies too in further disgraceful behaviour. And so we join in the vestibule of Fitzwilliam Manor. The characters are assembled such. Lady Gillingham was perhaps thought dead, her head smashed into a balustrade. He's just coming round after Dr. Drake has applied a weird, strange, black, oily substance to her neck that you were investigating, and he's now taking some practical science steps, it seems. But the good news is she's now not technically dead, so she's blinking around and looking at the dark red white stain of half of her blood spread across the tiles around her. In the vestibule itself, Captain Oakley has saber drawn. There's blood on his shiny blade as Felton, with his teeth reddened with the vermilion stain of Mrs. Gillingham's lifeblood, is acting like a mad dog. Jenkins is trained gamely to strike Miss Voss at his mistress's orders, and Lady Fitzwilliam is retreating into the salon and presumably from there to her chambers or somewhere like that, but she wants to get out of there. So very unseemly behaviour for the Regency period, one has to say. But it's desperate times and desperate measures. So shall we start with you, Captain? You're faced with the red-toothed Felton, who looks like he's about to leap upon you. What do you wish to do?
It's time to finish him off. So I will strike him with my saber.
Cool. He's going to fight back.
Oh no! Oh dear, oh dear.
This could be bad.
That's very sad.
He gets a success. So this could be a very short session.
Just out of interest, have I got some more of that black stuff still left over? Just checking.
Yes, you have. I'm going to be liberal with it. If other player characters want to take some, then you have many samples. So you got some. So just 3 damage for you, Simon. Is you strike at him and he just moves with surprising alacrity past your blade, and he sinks his teeth into your cheek.
Oh dear!
So he's biting your face and rugging his head left and right like he's trying to rip the skin off your face. Mrs. Gillingham, you've just come awake and you can see this behind Dr. Drake. What do you wish to do?
Do I feel sort of woozy, or how is, am I able to act?
You seem remarkably alive. It's like you've just woken suddenly from a sleep. You don't feel as bad as you should do. In fact, you can adjust your hit points to 6.
Oh, excellent.
As a technical point, which I haven't mentioned to you yet. But you're looking at the world, and it's like you're looking through a rainy window. If you imagine a grim, grimy window that's not been cleaned properly, and there's rain droplets down it. So there's a bit of it's almost like there's a film over your eyes or something. But you can see the doctor looking very worried over you, and you can see Felton like basically got his legs wrapped around the captain's middle, and he's sort of biting his head. And you can hear the dulcet tones of Miss Voss chanting some mesmerism spell in the background or something.
I'm going to leap up and grab the legs
of the Felton.
Of Felton, yes.
Yeah, I think I should be so shocked by this remarkable.
Yeah.
I'd like step back and I'm worrying to see if, and then you just leap past me.
Yeah.
As I'm fumbling for some smelling salts or something to try and give you some comfort.
Excellent. Let's make a brawl roll for me, please, Alina. I know it's your favourite roll to make. We established that last time. And guys, there's something you're doing particular, or are you? Is it literally just kind of like stumbling about for the minute, trying to get your bearings?
I know. I'm going to try and disentangle them.
So I know what while you were looking for your dice, I was just asking Guy what he was doing. So that's all right.
I think I'm trying to just do a quick assessment of what's happened to Mrs. Gillingham and why she suddenly seems to be like stood up and not lying on the floor in a pool of blood. What effect this thing seems to have had.
Can you make a medicine check for me, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yes. Okay. Right. Well, she looks pale, pasty, drawn. She's clearly lost too much blood and needs some fluid in her. But she's acting like animals do when they're in fight mode. It seems to you that she's got some like a huge adrenal rush, but also stuff like it doesn't seem like she should be able to. Looking at the red floor that you're standing in, sticky with a hemoglobin, it doesn't seem like she should be able to run around. But she, like a gazelle, leaps up and tries to grab at Felton. But fortunately, his legs are thrashing so much she can't quite get a purchase on him.
Mrs. Gilliam, try to rest. Try to rest. You've lost a lot of blood. I just if you could like.
And Miss Foss, what do you want to do?
Well, I believe if my magic failed me, it's time to resign to regular weapons. Can I draw weapons and attack at the same time?
Yes.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Oh, generous. I'm a river to my people.
So apparently, after I checked my character sheet more carefully, I have a blackjack, which I will try to use. Looks like I might be successful.
Okay, I'm not going to fight back at that because I'm going to suggest that Jenkins didn't realize that the young Miss Voss was going to pull a blackjack out of her purse and hit him
You
with
never know.
it. So he's just standing looking a bit stunned. He's not, you've not knocked him unconscious or anything, but he's looking very worried. He's got a big trail of blood down the side of his head. He's gone slightly cross-eyed and he's sort of staggering a bit askew, just looking shocked at you.
He survived it.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I guess with a blackjack and black magic, you can achieve much more than just the black magic.
This is true. What you probably do notice is like you were a bit surprised that it didn't go down, and as you look, the trickle of blood down the side of his head is all the blood looks quite black and dark in the dim light anyway, but you can see like rivulets of black oily substance within the blood, so it's not pure blood that's running down. It's like he's got some of this weird substance in his bloodstream as well as something, perhaps.
Is he conscious?
Yes, he's just like momentarily shaken, obviously, as you just cracked him with a bag full of lead around the side of the head, so he's looking a bit
Then I'll add sit.
Do you know what? I'm feeling generous. I'm full of bonhomie this evening. Do you want to make a mesmerism roll for me?
Oh, wow. Of course I do. There we go.
Ooh,
He sits down.
the dog
Nice.
whisperer.
Okay, Captain Oakley, you're currently being assaulted by Felton.
Well, the
What do you
first
wish to
thing I
do?
will do is cry out to the doctor, could you not just sedate him, man? Do I have enough range to hit him with my saber?
I'm sure a man such as you, who's been in hand-to-hand fighting over many years, can easily do that.
Let's do that then.
I'll do my fight back against you again.
Ooh,
Well, that's just a hit.
Yep, he gets just a hit as well, but when you fight back, it's the aggressor that actually wins on a tie. So you can apply a damage of 9, I think it was. Okay, you slide the blade into his ribs, and all of a sudden, all the fight goes out of him, and his jaw goes slack, and he collapses from you, quite
Consider
dead on the
yourself
floor.
sedated.
And he lies unmoving on the floor with his gaze looking up at the stuffed body of Kenneth the boxer.
oh,
I shall rush to him and see if he is sedated or if he is in fact dead.
He is technically dead. Yes, you are.
So I will, holding his hand with like a pocket watch, say he's dead.
After a minute.
God, Captain, you've killed him. Yeah.
Okay. So in the immediate area, you notice that Lady Fitzwilliam has fled. There's the slight snoring of Captain Rushworth in the salon beyond you. And apart from that, there's Jenkins, who sat kind of like hunched on his haunches with his hands in a kind of like almost forepaw-like way, looking up with these puppy dog eyes at Miss Voss.
Who's the good boy?
In terms
Doctor?
in terms of what we do now, I wonder if we shouldn't try and find the Lord Fitzwilliam and see if he knows what's going on.
Yeah. Maybe the Jenkins dog can take us there.
Yeah, Miss Voss, can you? He seems to like you.
Come on, boy. Where is your master?
And
Show us the way.
Scampering in this, if the situation wasn't so serious, it would be hilarious, as this butler, probably in his 50s, in a stuffed shirt, starts scampering on all fours through the salon and towards the chapel at the back of the manor.
As we're walking, I'm going to sort of stay behind a bit with the doctor and say, look back at the blood and say sort of, thank you for saving me.
Yeah, I really think you should try and take it easy. You've made a miraculous recovery.
Do you have a medical explanation for the recovery?
Are you feeling quite all right, Mrs. Gillingham?
Possibly, not fully. The things are peculiar.
I shall glance at you and then glance at the jar of black liquid and say, yes. Anyway, and sort of weigh up in my mind whether to tell you. I had to try some experimental techniques. They appear to have worked remarkably well, though.
Well, let's see.
Yes, quite. I'll note it down later rather than now. Perhaps I think we're a little busy. But do you report any symptoms that come to mind? Just let us know, and we can log them.
I have my own medicine if you'd care for some brandy, Mrs. Gillingham.
No, I'm all right.
Very well.
Given the remarkable recovery that Mrs. Gillingham's made, can you make a sanity check for me, Guy?
I just click on sanity, don't I? Yes, yeah, that's what happens. Yeah.
Okay, you get to lose 1d3, if you would. Okay, Miss Voss, you've passed the slumbering form of Captain Rushworth in the salon. Your butler dog, whatever, has kind of scampered into the chapel a bit. And it's at that point, it seems like the wound that you dealt him and the blood loss sort of give in, and he just crumples down. You can see opposite, there's another door, which is the Lord's bedroom, which you presume was where he will be. But in here as well is the elderly maid Dorothy, who's kind of been sat in front of the small altar that there is, praying, it looks like, her hands clasped. And she gets up and turns to you and says, oh, hello, dear. Sorry, the Lord's sleeping now. You can't come in. And she's like stuffing something away that she's been holding, and she wipes like a slight black smear across her lips, as if she's been drinking something and spilt a little bit of it. You have to, this way, please. We can't disturb him. She starts trying to like usher you out of the room, as the rest of you probably sort of catch up with what's.
I think I'll say, now then, Dorothy, we've been here before, and sort of push her against the wall. What are you hiding from us?
Sure. Can you make a strength check for me, please?
Yeah, sure.
She suddenly seems remarkably resistant. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, okay. Yeah, so you do push her against the wall, but it's a struggle. It's like someone who's as strong as you are, and you just about managed to do it. She says, no, this is my last chance. You can join me. You're a man of science. You can join us. The rest of these, don't. You can sacrifice them on the altar of greatness, can't you? And as she's talking, you see her teeth are blackened with this film of oily substance.
What have you been doing? She's got. I'll gesture back to the captain. She's hiding something.
She's taken this revolting toxic substance, which is obviously supposed to cure her, but instead it's had terrible, terrible effects. Anyone who ingests that is clearly damned.
I mean, we probably need more data, Captain. But it certainly doesn't look to have done her any good at all.
No,
Has she
no.
got any on her? One of the ladies could search her, perhaps. Oh,
I'm going to turn to her and say, look, let's be reasonable here. Just give us what we need to see, and nobody will get hurt.
Do you want to make a persuade / charm / social roll of your choice?
I might try to give you a bonus die because I'm there in the back.
Oops.
Okay.
Sorry.
Lean into the butler and scratching behind his ear.
Oh,
Showing that we're generally good to people who are not trying to kill us.
Fair enough. Your moral support has obviously helped with a hard success. Okay, Dorothy looks at you, Mrs. Gillingham, and you see it's like she recognizes you for the first time, and you yourself feel some kind of like empathy for her. It's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
perhaps with your studies into insects, you might consider it something like a pheromone or something, that you just have this kind of sympathetic kind of relationship with her all of a sudden. And she says, "Oh, do we? Oh, yes. Perhaps we can just have a little peek and see that the Lord's all right."
Thank you.
And presuming you kind of guide her in that direction, she opens you up the bedroom, the Lord and Lady's chamber. It's quite a large affair. It takes up nearly a quarter of the ground floor. It's extensive. There's beyond dressing rooms and stuff like that, a huge four-poster bed, lush surroundings, paintings, candelabras, all kinds of things, as you might expect. So it takes a moment to take it all in and note, Miss Voss, you probably remember from an incident that occurred to you in London where you chased that gambler down an alleyway and saw a scintillating outline against a wall, and he disappeared when there was no exit. You can see to the one side of the bed just the fading embers, almost like ash or something, of a rectangular door-shaped sized piece of the wall that seems to be just fading from glow, which perhaps the others don't recognize because they've not seen such a weird event before.
I'm immediately rushing there and trying to touch it or maybe walk through it if it's still active.
Yeah, you rush and place your hand and it starts to sink in, and you can feel yourself being sucked to the other side. It's cold, not very cold like the freezing fog was outside, but compared to the warm bedroom, there's a notable temperature change. Do you resist? Do you push forward? Do you try and hold yourself where you are?
Push forward.
Okay. The rest of you see Miss Voss run to a otherwise innocuous part of the wall and step into it, much like the dream she told you about that she had on the first night. And suddenly you kind of stood in the room without her.
Has she fully disappeared?
dear God,
That's
Miss
the-
Voss. Can I go over there and press the wall? Is it still soft and squidgy?
Can you make a power roll for me, please?
Power, okay. Oh, I'll spend 2 points of luck.
Okay. You can definitely feel resistance, but as you apply your manly, soldierly strength to it, it starts to give. And if you want to, you could probably push your way through.
Well, I must to help Miss Voss. She's clearly in mortal danger.
Okay. The others now see Captain Oakley disappear as well.
Is the room empty?
Oh, sorry.
Or is anybody sleeping on the bed?
There is now you come to think of to check. I'm in the rush. There is Lord Fitzwilliam, who's completely passed out on the bed, still in his dinner clothes and everything. It's like someone's carried him and dumped him, basically.
Miss Gilligan, what are we to do?
Well, either we follow through that wall, however weird it is, or we speak to his lordship, but I think following through that wall is probably safer for them.
Yes, we shouldn't split up. And we've not got any sense out of his lordship yet this weekend, have we? So let's see what's going on here. Yeah,
There's
try
a
and follow
mumbled
through.
Kenneth from the Lordship who turns over in his sleep. Okay, you're going to try and push through power rolls from me if you want
Yes.
to force your way through this rapidly.
One of us left
tangible.
alone. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
No,
As I said. Yeah.
push.
Yeah, can I push that? What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, well, I can't imagine any consequences
Like,
from getting.
yeah. So batter against the wall with all my power.
Yay!
take a leap.
Yay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. I guess since it's an extreme success, I can't be too mean to you either, so I'll just move this window over here. Right. So obviously you will appear in the order in which you rolled your dice for the sake of the description, but the description is the same for all of you, so that's fine. Miss Voss, your first three. And you find yourself in a like a large square chamber almost, but with rounded corners, if you can imagine that.
Mhm.
It's cold. To what is the north wall, there's a large set of glass doors which reach up like 2 stories high of a regular building. So you're in some large vaulted ceiling hall with a dome on the top of it. There's also some windows facing as well, but you notice all this glass has been painted over. So there's only bits of light getting through from the outside. To the east and west are archways into other chambers. And to the south of you, there's a carved out bit which you imagine would have some kind of maybe a statue or something like that, or maybe a crucifix or something, like quite a large one, or a big painting, maybe something. There's actually an alcove for it, but draped in front of it are lots of like tarpaulins and cloths, and either side, incongruously in little alcoves, are diving suits, if you imagine those. I don't know what they would seem like to somebody in the Regency period, but if you imagine like big brass helmets and clunky suits with pipes attached. And the last feature, which you see as your friends start to appear in the center of the room with you, just by the wall, is a lot of machinery all over the floor. Brass, weird gemstones and lights. It's got a frost over it. It's probably, if you imagine the size of a car, it's that amount of pipes and tubes and weird things, and still susurrating out of it slowly, creating a dry ice-like effect, is cold fog. So your feet are quite chilled, as there's a few inches of this unnatural fog that you experienced before, but in a lower level, which seems to be emanating out of this odd and incomprehensible machinery.
No other humans or living beings around, correct?
There's no one immediately here now.
Can I check something? You said that the windows are painted over, and there is light coming from some areas, or
There are generally candles and things like that about, and
okay.
candelabras with a bit of light, and then there's a moonlight that's kind of streaming in through bits where it's imperfectly painted over and that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
I shall rush. Sorry.
So is this the outbuilding?
You
Or is it somewhere
imagine
entirely different?
you're in one of the outbuildings. It could well be. It's of a similar sort of masonry and that kind of thing, looking about it. But given that you've not seen the outside, it's hard to tell it for sure. But you don't feel like you're in some strange foreign land or something like that.
Well, I'm an engineer. This is my speciality. I realize this machinery is entirely unfamiliar, but I'd like it to stop producing dry ice. And I imagine that it's designed in such a way that you can turn on and off dry ice. So could I attempt to disable it, please?
You certainly can. You'll be unsurprised to learn, not human technology. So you're going to need a hard success.
Okay, so mechanical repair, presumably, is it?
Yep, that'll do me.
Nope, no clue what it does.
Can we try and pull tarpaulin down to see more of the machinery or what have they?
Certainly. You do that.
What do I see?
As you're We're getting there. It's what you smell first.
Ooh.
So as you approach this tarpaulin, and like I say, it's quite a huge area. There's a heavy, acrid chemical smell, which seems to be masking the sickly sweet stench of decay. And there's almost like the smell you get at low tide when all the dead fish and other stuff is around.
Yeah.
That kind of smell. And as you pull away the tarpaulin, it pulls down surprisingly easy. Like what the first piece pulls down the second piece, it all just comes collapsing down easily. And strapped in this alcove by chains of hard metal is something you struggle to comprehend. It's got a formless shape, like a huge tube of pig intestines stuffed with fish guts and writhing crustaceans. Its head, if such it is an ovoid, a boiling mass of fibrous, translucent fronds, bleeding sickly coloured light throughout the room and swaying as anemones do in the deep, dark oceans. It has tattered wings, membranous, like the ragged sails of some forlorn ghost ship that hang and twitch in some unseen breeze. And it has chitinous, lobstered claws that almost imploringly start to reach towards you in weird and unnatural articulated ways. Would you like to make sanity rolls for me, please?
I would love to.
That's fair enough, to be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're happy with that?
Sounds like a typical Wednesday, but nonetheless.
But it's Tuesday, that's the thing.
Ah,
Yeah.
there we go. Really not, really
Horrific.
unhappy. Very unhappy with that.
Okay, so just leaves one if you pass, but leaves a D8 if you fail, please. And if anybody needs me to dice for them, let me know.
Oh, yes, please.
So what happens if we pass?
Just one,
Okay, thank you.
and 3 for the failure.
Right, dear God.
Okay, so this, you don't know what it is, but those strange lights you saw outside from the Hermitage earlier in the night, it's not dissimilar to that, but you're almost like in a disco ball effect now, where the whole room is filled with these weird lights that seem to be emanating from this gelatinous, tentacular kind of mass that is its head, for want of a better word. And there's a moment of panic, Miss Voss, as it like reaches this clawed hand towards you, but these heavy chains and things seem to be holding it in place. And you note with your interest in the occult that they seem to be inscribed with weird, unnatural symbols too.
I hope there is a scene where I'm reaching back to it and just freezing a few inches from its tentacles.
With my natural philosophy, can I understand anything more? Like about how it lives and where it would live or anything?
Sure, mate, just make a roll and we'll see how well you roll and if there's something I can give you for that. It's clearly not
Nope.
something of this earth.
Nope. Nope. Not from South America, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Do I have-
What you are sure of is it's not of this world. Like there's too many bits of it that don't make sense. And as you stare at it more like in horrified fascination, you think there's some parts of it that aren't even corporeal or intangible or perhaps exist in a dimension that we can't perceive.
Can I try to roll for a call to understand the symbols you mentioned? Are they protecting us from it or it from us? Or
Again, you can make a roll, but I'm looking for at least a high success to get some kind of meaning because it's not typical occult.
fair enough.
You get the general sense that it's about binding rather than protection, for example.
I want to have a look at the diving suits and just see have they been used recently? Is there any sign of occupancy? And sort of what are they as well? If they're, I'm not sure where we are in. If these are alien technology, what do I deduce they are? Diving suits, presumably. But have they been? Are they wet? Have they been used?
Yeah, you might not even recognize them as diving suits, but they are sealed, hermetically sealed is something that you recognize. So that they're definitely airtight. They're in some way attached to some of the machinery that's around and would perhaps deduce that there's an air circulation thing, and they seem well maintained. So they're not wet, but there's no rusty bolts or anything like that. They're well oiled and used, so they are being used recently. And it's as you're looking there that you note behind the creature in the alcove, there's it's not scintillating square as before that you traveled through, but you can see a difference in the sheen of the wall behind. And there's the boot marks and things of the heavy boots. You won't be surprised if there's some other strange technology or whatever it is that's allowed you to get here that perhaps allows someone to pass through another portal, for want of a better word.
Oh, so there's the boots of the suits. So people, would I surmise people get into them and then go through this portal?
That's what you think.
I shall somehow communicate this. So in a stuttering, panicked manner to everyone as we gaze at this weird light show and say, the suits, there's a portal they must go through. Maybe it's underwater.
This creature is kept here against its will.
Yes.
That is very clear. It seems to me that we have three options with this monstrous beast, which, despite its appearances, may have no quarrel with us. We may destroy it, we may leave it, or we may free it.
We have no reason to destroy it at this point.
I feel my hand twitching towards my saber, Mrs. Gillingham. It's a soldier's instinct.
I would be happier to free it the other side of that
Likewise.
portal than in England here today.
Yes. Well, it would be happier to be freed its place. Can I try to communicate with it? So I'll sort of say, sort of, hello, do you speak? Or, try and think things through, sort of telepathy, whatever. Sort of, not that I have telepathy, but maybe it has telepathy.
Charades.
You try your best, and probably the conclusion you come to is it's something to do with light, as there's changes in light that occur, but you're just not capable of understanding what it's. But you think it's intelligent from that. You get some impression, and it doesn't seem. I mean, maybe because it's chained up or whatever it is, but it doesn't seem immediately hostile. It seems like it's trying as hard as you are to communicate. It just can't seem to get anything across.
How many diving suits are there?
I shouldn't have called them diving suits because they're not invented for the 200 years, but it was to put the picture in your head of what
how many of these protection suits?
There's two.
Okay.
And in case you missed it, because I did give a lot of detail, there are other archways out, so there's further rooms in the rotunda which you suspect you're in. So that's not the only way you could go. Or you could go outside, obviously.
Should we give this place a proper search? We were trying to get here before, weren't we?
Yes.
Let's have a look around before we explore that portal. See if there's any more clues as to what we can do with this thing.
I rather suspect that either this creature or beyond the portal is the source of this terrible, damnable black substance with which people have been unwittingly infected.
Infected?
Yes, it's certain damnation, Mrs. Gillingham.
With remarkable healing properties, it appears also.
Does not seem much compensation.
Right, let's explore.
I will just say that there are quite high chances I've seen something similar, that these doors were used by someone, so someone who used them right before us might still be around. So be careful.
Ah.
Oh, interesting.
Perhaps the mysterious manservant is here. Another person we've been looking for. So yes, forthwith, let's go through one of these archways.
Any particular preference which way you head? Or do you
Always
just take
go
a
right.
random? I
Yes.
assume you face the gate, and so you head to what is just from my knowledge and just to help trivialize that a little bit, or the viewers rather. Yeah, you're heading to the west through the archway, and you see a smaller room. There's French windows in the north and west, heading out into the gardens. You imagine to the south, another door, and there's a collection of demijohns, jars, beakers, glassware
mason jars all around, and a variety of liquids are within. You do notice a large amount of this black liquid, but also other types. And some of the jars have things suspended in them, an amniotic fluid or something. Some have things crawling and tapping on the glass. There's a weird array of both terrestrial and, you imagine, extraterrestrial things. And it seems like the substance has been manufactured here.
So apart from the black substance, what is there something else that I can recognize?
You recognize bits of creatures from various places, certainly some from South America. And you get the weird chemical smell has got stronger as you come over this side as well. It looks like whatever the substance is that thankfully none of you have ingested. It's made partly by elements from the earth and partly from something unknown, and it's been developed over a period of time, like months or years.
So they might be using the creature to harvest stuff.
Or to hold the portal open, perhaps.
Do you want to take more samples with you?
Yes.
Yeah, there's
No
like 4
end.
pockets of like jars. They've just
This
There's
this
a room full of stuff, so like
Yeah.
feel free.
this
Yeah.
place should be destroyed, and all the contents and forbidden knowledge within it consigned to history. It has caused nothing but evil.
No. The march of science is morally neutral. It can be turned to good or ill.
Ah,
This isn't the source of our problems. These liquids, jars of substance. We should study them first, at least.
We definitely should not destroy the knowledge. This is the most precious thing we can ever have.
some knowledge is not meant to be known, and judging by the effect that it has had on our hosts, I think it is clear that we should do our absolute best to put this behind us and put it behind all human knowledge.
Our hosts knew what they were doing. It was
Exactly.
their choice to do it. It's not the knowledge that creates this, it's their decision to action on that knowledge.
Let's not be very quick to judge here. Let's check out the other room, see what's in there, try to figure out the way to get this creature back to where it came from, and then we can consider what to do with whatever remains in here.
Well, as you all stand against me, I will hold off.
That is very wise. Thank you.
And as Miss Voss turns the handle and opens the door to the last room on that side beyond, a cloud of flies buzz angrily and brush past you and around. There's a horrible stench of a slaughterhouse that assails you, and you all retch a little bit as you just feel that sickly sweet dead meat, fly-blown carcass kind of smell. Just peering within, you can see there's a variety of animals, some people in there, you think, and they've been reassembled in a variety of ways. All of them had the tops of their heads removed and bits taken out, swapped, added to. You can see bits of brass in some of them, some strange chemicals and ichors in others. And it looks like some crazed, mad god has tried to patch together new creatures from the bits of everything in this world and others.
Do we see any alien parts, or is this just, sort of visible human parts? Not human, sort of
There's some
animal parts.
strange insectoid bits. You recognize some from when you visited the glass house of the strange insects you couldn't identify.
I feel a strong urge to roll for sanity.
Please do.
I'm very kind.
Do I still need to roll? Because I'm immune to corpse.
You're hardened, Doctor, so you're fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this doesn't look like combat, so I think I should roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Not your field.
Yeah, so anybody who succeeds can lose 1
I think given the horrific contest of everything seems to see, the rest this isn't quite as bad as it could be. So we'll just do a D4 for historically 3.
Ugh. Have you not seen enough? What else do you need to see? The mass slaughter of human beings, the exchanging of one part with another? Surely that's enough to persuade you that this must end.
Well, this must definitely end, but the point
Good.
is, how do we end it?
By destroying everything here.
Well, it's the people that did it. It's not what is here.
I include them on my list.
I'm sorry, you're going to kill everyone in this house?
Oh, they must be dealt with one way or another, surely.
So, Captain Oakley, you've obviously lost more than 5 sanity in a very short period of time. So, have a temporary mental break. So,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to describe what your action is. You've given strong words, which is a good indication, but there must be some kind of response that you give to this, which is probably beyond what you would normally do in a measured way. What does that look like?
Okay, I will draw my sword, start slashing it around, and plunge it through one of the glass panes. Just smash it when I see my reflection.
And how does everyone else react?
I will try and put my hands on his sort of shoulder and just say, Captain, just pull yourself together. We will get through this. Just focus.
Thank you for your calming words, Mrs. Gillingham.
I'm just looking at. I'm almost out of sedative. It's been a busy weekend. Are you quite yourself, Captain? As I'm like getting the.
I'm pretty sure one of these jars will do.
Well, guess what? I'll approach from the other side and holding once again some small shiny amulet, and we'll try talking to Captain in a nice calming voice, trying to get his attention and make a mesmerize check. Suppress mental trauma.
It's good. Field hypnotherapy. I'm sure it'll work.
Let's look on the other side. Maybe there is a silver lining to this cloud.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Or maybe there isn't.
You've got to push it. You've got to push it.
Can I push it?
Oh, yes.
The circumstances we're in, I think you should. There's a portal somewhere. Like.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Is it an opposed roll?
Oh, no, I'm not opposing being helped with mental trauma. That would be foolish.
Well, then you are entitled to recover 1d3 sanity points by instilling a mental block.
Oh, how delightful.
Actively repressing the memory of a trauma caused by a particular trigger. Let's say dead bodies, which were
they will come up
mutilated.
again.
I'm trying to hold your attention away from this massacre.
The captain's suddenly like, aren't we going to go into that other room? We're like, no, we're not going to bother now. Yeah, we checked
In there, nothing to see there, really.
We checked it out. It's fine.
So there is a moment, because you had to push, where you think the captain's going to stick his saber into you, but you managed to pull it back and calm down. And
I had a feeling it might not end well.
But you quickly close the door behind you and exit and try and pass through the other archway, past the strange creature, and all feeling quite jittery now. As you pass through, the lights are still playing, and Miss Gillingham, you start to get the impression of like freedom, and the mental image of it's almost like the lights are playing out fields of wheat and someone just like running through them carefree, and the wind blowing in the hair, and like nobody else seems to see it. But you can almost see like a movie's playing against the wall as you're walking through this time.
I'm going to raise my head up and sort of smell the fresh air and just sway my head from left to right.
Are you all right, Mrs. Gilliam? Is this a symptom I need to note down?
That's just a momentary fancy. Nothing. I'm sure it's fine.
It has been a long day.
Push past more machinery in the alcove beyond and another door to another room, which you pause and listen for the sound of buzzing flies or the stench of dried blood, but don't see any. Who's going to be first through the door this time? Is it Miss Voss again, or is someone else taking the bold steps forward?
I can go in first.
Go together.
Yeah,
I mean, I brought us there.
you push the door open with Miss Gillingham on your shoulder, peeking over to see what you might find excitedly. There's a dark room beyond, and there are benches, tables, glassware, bits of this strange technology. And in the darkness, you can see in the corner, there seem to be two figures seated either side of a table. The table has upon it a brass cylinder, maybe half a meter and about that sort of wide, with jewels attached to it, which are glowing slightly. And sat on the table, again, it'll be something from Out of Time. But if you imagine a phonograph or like a record player with a big trumpeted thing on it, it's something like that, although your characters wouldn't recognize it as such, with an arm and a needle across that can be pulled either way, amongst all the other strangeness that's in the room. But immediately you notice that there's figures in the dark sat by the side of this device and seem to be looking at you.
Captain, I think we might have found someone who might be held responsible.
Oh, feels like a chance for some action. I'll walk through. Can I see who these figures are before I address them?
Not immediately, but I assume perhaps one of your friends holds up one of the candelabras from behind.
Yeah, well,
and gives you a bit of light to pass across.
I'll have my hand on my pistol.
Sure. Across the room on one side is an older gentleman who sat silently staring in the darkness. He's dressed very well, a man of worth, you would estimate. But as you stare closely, you notice that he's probably been dead for some time. To the other side, looking quite shaken, is Lady Fitzwilliam.
You? Are you responsible for this monstrosity?
It's not me. It's him, that wretched man. He made me do things I didn't want to. He's held us all hostage. It's nothing to do with me.
The time for lies is over. I believe you are in this up to your neck.
No, you have to believe me. And she looks pleading with the ladies. Ladies, you know me. We've spoken, we've shared our futures and our dreams. You have to protect me. You know how
Obviously,
manipulative men are.
I remember our close friendship so well, especially the last
To
thing you said
deceive
to
the
me.
ladies.
Asking a butler to get rid of me.
That was pure panic.
Not very ladylike.
I was scared. Can't you see? I was frightened, terrified for my life.
Oh well, I'm so scared now.
Just look around. You look at the things he can do. Yeah, he has to be stopped. He's left me here. You'll help me, won't you?
No, I don't think so.
Mrs. Gillingham, surely you feel some empathy towards me.
Why don't you tell us your story? Tell us from the beginning. What is this?
That man that my husband brought back from Nepal. He's been doing odd things. I don't know what happened. He dragged me here and he's left me, and now I've never seen all this before. I thought we were doing renovations. Do you want to make a psychology roll for me, please?
Can I do psychology? Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Uh,
no.
I'll spend 8 points.
Okay. Yeah, she's clearly lying through her teeth. Well,
Sorry,
the bit where she said he left me here sounded quite true.
yeah.
But the other stuff she's saying sounds like it's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
It seems to me that you have done enough to damn yourself to hell. Would you
Where
like...
is this? Where is this man now? Speak quickly before the captain acts.
He said he said not to worry, just the way he's going to go and bring help.
Oh dear.
Did he go through the portal?
Yes.
And do you know what this help is in the form of?
I shudder to think any time he said he's going to help us, things always get worse. My husband was ill, don't you see? I had to do something. Something to make him feel better. We've just not quite got the medicine right. That's what he said. Just a few more sessions and a few bit more surgery and some new tonics. He's been working ever so hard. And soon the Lord will be back to normal. Isn't that right, Father? And she turns around and addresses the dead man in the seat next to her.
It seems that you have quite lost your mind, Lady Fitzwilliam, whether you were good or bad in the first place. I will not harm someone who is insane. However, it appears to me that you're a danger to yourself and others and must be restrained while we deal with this matter. Unless anyone objects, I'm going to tie her to the chair, or to a place where she can't get away, at least.
Mm-hmm.
The dead priest.
Not a priest. This is a gentleman of worth, so a noble, perhaps, or certainly
Okay.
one of the rich gentry.
Okay,
Huh.
so she addressed him as father. Is that her father?
That's what you'd surmise.
Okay, I thought it was a priest.
No, sorry, a filial father rather than
Who
religious one.
who is this gentleman you're talking to, Lady Gillingham? Lady Fitzwilliam?
Papa. He said it was all no good and he was going to put a stop to it, but we talked him round, didn't we, Father? And she tries to reach out to hold his hand, but Captain Oakley's busy strapping her to the chair, so she can't do herself any harm or others.
He's dead, you foolish woman!
Why did this happen? She looks appalled and shocked.
Doctor, what is the cause of death?
I will ascertain the cause of death. I imagine I can say with some confidence he's been dead for some time, though.
Yeah, no roll required for that.
Yeah. Cold to touch.
Having a look though, do you want to make a medicine roll for me to see what else you might find while you're rooting around a corpse?
Yeah. Nobody's shouting push it.
Pushing.
I am considering pushing though, yeah. As I properly look around the corpse, like throwing stuff. What is it? Having a root around in this darkened room full of occult symbology, yes. Yes.
Needed a bit more light on the subject. Yeah, he was definitely murdered. Looks like he was stabbed by a blade, probably 12 to 14 inches, maybe curved. There's been a couple of defensive wounds on his arms, and it's basically just hacked in the chest eventually, which killed him, and his jacket's been pulled back over. Long since ensanguinated, so he's desiccated. He's been here for some months, you would suspect. And the other thing that you note through your investigations is that his left arm that sat on the table with his odd device and brass tube has puncture wounds at the top of it. And looking at the arm of the device, it looks like it pulls round and could stick a needle in the arm, for example. But also looks like it could fit to the tube as well, as it would happen.
I shall share this with murder, a curved sword. Of the sort, Captain, I believe that the soldiers of Nepal use.
I'm very familiar with it. I think it reminds me of something that happened to me in a dark time in Nepal, and I think
Try not to think about it, Captain.
it's come full circle.
Miss Voss, Miss Voss.
It seems
Exactly.
seems to me that we must find this miscreant and deal with him as he is the source of all of their problems. These weak-willed people.
Indeed.
Does this mean we
Yes.
need to go through the portal?
I think so.
So be it. I feel that I'm equipped physically, if not mentally, to deal with the challenge.
I shall accompany you to help with the mental capacity, if you'd allow me.
Of course.
Indeed. We shall stay here and ensure that supervise the destruction of the liquids, Mrs. Gillingham, shan't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the safe removal of those. Yes.
Okay, so we're about to head into a break. So as I understand it, Miss Voss and Captain Oakley are suiting up into the diving suits with the names scribbled out and some of the name put on for suitable 200 years before they invented suits, whatever they are. And the other two of you are going to keep rooting around and doing other things in this strange place. Does it go? Okay. So
Perfect.
everybody in Viewland, we'll edit this down. So it'll be a really quick break and you'll see no break at all. But we just need to take 15 minutes to take the airs and the victuals, and we will be back with you shortly. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Regency Cthulhu. Just before the break, we had a monstrous creature, unnatural experiments, and despite what was said earlier in the session about not splitting the party, the decision to quite deliberately split the party. So, hooray for that. Right, so Captain Oakley and Miss Voss, you are strapping yourselves into these unnatural suits and then going to try and attempt to get through a gateway of some sort. So, Captain, might I suggest you try your engineering to see how well you've understood the mechanism of this?
Why
How
not?
well you've zipped it up. Yeah.
I've no idea.
Yeah, you've got them on. Seems all right. There's probably no
It's before
extra bits for you to-
zippers.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we doing it right?
You mentioned that there was some kind of gas tube or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perhaps we should assist with the sealing of them.
Yes.
I want to be sure that it is properly sealed. So we could use the dry ice or some smoke to ensure that there are no gaps in it. But yes, if you wouldn't mind just checking it over.
Searcher's character sheet for engineering skill.
Yeah. I've got bad news for you.
I mean, I've got spot hidden. Is that like
Yeah, if you make a spot hidden, I'll say you can.
spot the leaks?
Mechanical repair's the nearest, but
I
Yeah.
can suggest putting protective runes on the suits. That will help, right?
That's
Protect-
definitely going to
Sure,
help.
that'll help you. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try and spot any hidden leaks. No.
We're so doomed.
So,
I think it's great. It looks great. Like it suits you. I mean, it's quite a nice cut.
Thank you.
Fashion wise, it's quite forward. I think it will be the trend.
Very progressive.
so
I feel more like a medieval knight in this suit.
So you stop any, obviously, so you try and do a bit of a smoke test. Any big leaks you stop, but like we know behind the scenes that they're not sealed properly. But for as far as the characters are concerned, we've done a good job there. There's a little bit of going and get some viscous paint or paste or whatever from one of the jars in the other room or other things to get. Oh, that'll probably seal it up nicely. Bits of tape or whatever you can find, paint over the cracks. It looks
Can't go
amazing.
wrong.
And you start to clunk your way in these heavy boots towards the back of the room where there's a different patch of wall you assume is somehow activated. Miss Voss, do you care to roll for me occult to see if you can work out the correct order and words and such like that to try and produce a result?
I almost passed, and I'm willing to spend some luck to make it a success. Unless you need a hard.
No, I'm happy. You can spend one luck. to
They're
send
good.
yourself to your doom. That seems
You
all right
won't-
to me. As a
I'm
good
sure you won't
bargain.
need luck later.
Yeah.
Done.
So you do that. You start to speak out some of the things. Some of the symbols now make more sense to you. Having thought about it a little bit, maybe it's the vapors that you've had while you've been in this rotunda. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the strange lights and the way they're dancing over the back of the room now that are starting to make more sense. And you just kind of naturally flow into it. And it's a little bit like when you're doing one of your seances or something like that, and you feel a spirit possess you, except you almost feel like something like this time it's actually something's possessing you. You get and you're saying words that you're not sure you knew before now, but it seems to flow, and then before you know it, the words are tripping over themselves to get out of your mouth. And the wall ahead of you starts to scintillate and dissolve. And it's like an inky blackness. It's as if there was a wall made of this viscous substance you've been seeing, but like a held back by glass, but with no glass there. You can see it shimmering and moving.
Are we connected by tubes to the machine, or are we independently going through?
There are tubes stuck
Right.
to the back of your suits that attach to the machine.
So if I tug 3 times, pull me back.
Right. Right. So.
Usually I would say ladies first, but it doesn't seem appropriate under these circumstances. So with your permission, Miss Voss, I shall proceed.
Please do.
Okay, I will step through.
You bravely step forward, and you all see him being welcomed into the dark ebony embrace of this viscous fluid. As he's half pushing through, when the membrane seems to give, you see it almost flowing over him to embrace him and suck him through to the other side as the captain disappears, swallowed, and as if he was never there apart from this tube that's kind of like sticking out the back, standing incongruous in the wall. Do you follow straight away, Miss Voss, or are you waiting to see what happens?
I wait a bit and then follow, unless he
If
Unless-
all's well, I'll tug once.
Okay. While this is happening, I presume the Doctor and Mrs. Gillingham are looking on interested.
Yeah.
Mrs. Gillingham, you start to get your visions again. You get and gambling through the field, you realise the woman that's frees you, and you come across a horse that's led. It's got stuck, and its hoof stuck in a rabbit hole, and it's tugging, but it can't get out. And it's almost like someone scribbled something on the side. You can't write out the word. You can't in dreams. You can never really understand what the letters are and stuff. And it's tugging. It's looking up at you with its mad rolling eye, like pleading you to let it go as it tries to free itself from this bond. Do you do anything?
I will wait until Miss Voss leaves.
Very good. Okay. Anything particularly you do, Dr. Drake, before I just whip to the other side?
No, I'll be watching with interest, but also waiting for them to leave so I can do a little bit of science on this liquid while they're
Okay.
out of the picture.
Good that we've got a team ethos going here.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, Captain, you've stepped through an inky blackness. You feel yourself falling, it feels like, but you don't get any sense of your orientation. So you're not sure if you're being pulled, pushed, dropping, rising up, thrown in the air. It's hard to tell. And after a short while, an indeterminate while, probably, so it probably feels a lot longer than it actually is, you kind of plump out and you're in some kind of cave. There's a multitude of tunnels around. There's a strange buzzing that's oddly dulled because of the fishbowl helmet thing that you've got on. But you can see definite disturbances in the gravelly floor of the place, and where someone's recently passed through into a larger chamber beyond. And the strange noise, perhaps there's a chanting or a talking or a buzzing sound. It's quite hard to, and you kind of get a half flashback to the room of cadavers and the cloud of flies that came out, but then
happily for you, your mental block that Miss Boss has placed blocks the rest of that memory from you, but you just get that weird hairs on the back of your neck feeling for a minute.
Well, I best not go exploring alone. I'll wait here for Miss Voss before we proceed.
Okay. And after a short time, you probably remind yourself that you're supposed to give one tug if everything's all right, and quickly give a yank. And then presumably, Miss Voss, you follow through?
Sure do.
So exactly the same happens again. You'll appear through with a captain, and then you're both going to try and progress your way in, I imagine.
We will follow the footprint, shall we?
Let's do that. I will keep an eye for any occult symbols or anything like that.
You note as well there is this an after effect of lights dancing on the walls a little bit, not as strong as it was in the room that you come from. And you notice the buzzing as well, and it seems to be getting louder as you progress forward. But it's got a sort of musical quality to it or something. Feels strange. It feels almost familiar, but at the same time, very different.
I'll draw Captain's attention to it, but I have no idea what it means for now. So just let's follow the tracks, as you said.
You do so. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Mrs. Gillingham, you notice Miss Voss disappear, and you just feel a real surge of empathy and sympathy for this animal that's trapped and needs to be free. And you see it's almost hurting itself trying to pull its hoof out of this rabbit hole. What do you do?
I am going to pull it out in my head. So I'm going to reach inside my head and just pull the rabbit out of the hole. Set it free.
And it's kind of with its other paw, it's like trying to destroy the writing that's been carved into the dirt.
Ah, okay. Oh, what's it? Wait. I just start talking to myself. It's like, not yet.
Yeah,
okay,
do I see?
Doctor, okay. You notice that while you're busy looking around at various jars, you've turned around again, and Mrs. Gillingham has walked up to that strange, wretched, stinking creature, and one of the chains that's around its middle, she's kind of like interfering with, and it's rested one of its insectoid articulated hands upon her shoulder, and he's like caressing her back as she's trying to like fiddle with this thing, and then she just goes, wait, and seems a bit confused.
Mrs. Gillingham, I'm trying to like wrench her off it. As I like,
we have to set him free.
No, not here, later. As I try and wrest her off the creature.
But how much later?
Soon, when Miss Voss and the captain are back. We don't know if it's safe for him here.
We also don't know if it's safe for them there.
Yes, but we don't want to free him and him come to harm. This is clearly not where he belongs.
But if we free him, he can go through the portal, no?
Maybe we put him through the portal first and then free him.
We put him through the portal,
but not yet. Let's wait for the others to get back. Mrs. Gillingham, you've had a long day. You lost a lot of blood earlier. Probably a good idea if I just check you over and see, are you quite all right? You don't need another dose of this stuff, do you?
No, I think I'm feeling quite all right. I'm just feeling that something needs to be done to set this person.
Doctor, do you just want to make a quick spot hidden roll for me?
Yes, certainly. No.
Okay,
I quite like to not notice whatever's happening.
Yeah.
I think that's better if I don't spot whatever's
see that. Yeah. You've pulled Miss Gillingham away, and there's like a slight scratch across her that she doesn't seem to have noticed from this claw that immediately like seals itself up and leaves one of those feathery wounds that's like almost imperceptible. And as you're saying that you've lost a lot of blood, do you need some fluids and that kind of thing? You don't notice immediately, but a proboscis has emerged from this creature, and there's a squirt of inkish fluid that suddenly hits Mrs. Gillingham in the face. And obviously you're taken back at first by it, but it's the sweetest nectar. It's like honey. It's a dreamlike substance that you, past the immediate shock, you suddenly feel invigorated and strong, and perhaps don't even notice the blackened stains down the front of you, or the stinky, fishy death smell that now pervades you.
I'll
You can
stagger
regain another
backwards.
3 hit points if you wish.
Excellent. I do wish.
So there's weird, almost comedic moments as this black torrent just hits Mrs. Gillingham in front of you.
No, no. I'm trying to manhandle her away as I'm like almost taking her back into
Oh,
the
it's
creature.
delicious.
It's
Try
not.
some.
It's not. It stinks.
And can you make a sanity roll for me, Guy, please?
I do like the fact that all my sanity loss has been through people feeling better.
So much for the Hippocratic oath.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, fine. Nothing
All right,
surprises
you're
me.
all right with this. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you pull it, you get to a more useful distance away from this fetid creature, whatever it may be. Okay, well, while you're trying to clean her up a little bit, and Mrs. Gilligham's busy licking her hands and talking about how delightful it is. In the cave system, wherever it may be, you round a corner to find another set of this odd machinery, and now you're getting a little bit more familiar with it, and you've tried this thing before. You notice that there's other tubes coming off it, and there's like flanges where you could attach the tube that's attached to you, for example. And from the other side, there's a tube that's leading off and snaking around the corner into what you can assume is a bigger, more open cavern. As this buzzing is getting louder and more intense, and you can feel it reverberating in a larger space beyond. And you can almost feel a tugging at the back of your own tubes now as you feel it getting to the end of his extension.
So there is a tube attached to the machine that is extending somewhere else at the moment, is there?
Yeah, and other coiled up ones that are kind of lying on the floor.
So do we feel, Miss Voss, that it's likely that our miscreant is attached to the other end of this tube and is therefore at our mercy?
I would assume so.
So one option is to pull him back. Another one would simply be to undo him from the machinery. What's your thought, Miss Voss?
I'm really honestly scared to try and pull them back because we do not know what sort of people are they, if they are people at all, and what sort of dark sorcery they might operate.
The alternative, of course, would be for us to attach ourselves to this second machine with the tubes that are provided and continue our way. But I would feel more comfortable if we detached this tube first.
Agreed.
What do you think? So let us do that. I will do Miss Voss first. Get the other tube ready. Undo the first tube. Hold your breath, Miss Voss. And quickly screw the other one on, and then ask her to do the same to me.
I try
I'm
to
sure
follow instructions.
all that goes perfectly without any problem.
Obviously.
Of course.
We're such a nice team.
We
We're a
already
good
failed
team.
the roll earlier, so we'll let that ride and assume that you think you've done a good job here.
Yeah. And then I think we should undo this tube that's here.
Let's do it.
There's the expected rush of gases that burst out, and do you wait some time to progress?
Yes.
Yes, I imagine that whoever it is at the other end is going to be coming back towards us, though, so I will be prepared.
Okay.
Are you holding your saber while
Yes.
you're dressed in a suit?
100% knight in armor with my saber in my hand.
And your big mittens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
like-
use this
Yeah.
pause to put small protection occult symbols on the back of his suit.
Oh, thank you, Miss Voss. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what you're doing back there, but I'm sure it must be doing something useful.
That's for protection.
It's probably at that point you notice the hissing sound coming from the back of his helmet as your helmet starts steaming up from all the gas that's coming out of it. So it's probably fine.
Well, that means that the symbols are working, see?
Yeah, that's the
Of
only
course it
logical
is.
conclusion.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You hear a different tenor to the noises that have been coming ahead. There's a break and then a more urgent, irritated stuff. It's like someone's kicked a hornet's nest or something, and there's an angry sound. The color of the lights, which were dancing around, have now become a lot stronger and flashing in different colors, giving a strange multi-strobed effect. And you can see, so you're always like moving, jerking as the lights kind of go on and off around you. And you can hear, even dulled through the helmets, the sound of pounding boots and something else approaching, which I'll pause for just to check if the Doctor and Mrs. Gilligan wish to do anything before the dramatic revelation up there.
I just wish to examine Mrs. Gillingham and just see what seems to have clouded her mind, and if this black fluid has had further effects on her.
Yeah, she's not as pale as she was. She's now got a greyish look to her, and it's like she's got black contact lenses in. Although she seems to be seeing you fine. Her eyes are like those of a shark or something like that, and she seems full of vim and vigor.
You
Mrs.
feeling
Gilligan,
yourself?
I am feeling great.
you are feeling great, and what's more, you're now looking at this man, and in your mind's eye, you see the trapped animal, and a farmer's come out into the field with his shotgun, and he's coming and pointing it at the animal, and he does have Dr. Drake's face.
The farmer, not the animal.
The farmer has Dr. Drake's face.
I'm going to grab the farmer's shotgun and just punch him.
Okay, let's make one of your.
Not hunt
Yeah.
here. It's not hunting season.
I have a strong feeling that this brawl roll is going to be the one that succeeds after all this time.
If I see her going for me, I'm going to sort of try and fight back and restrain her.
Do you want to fight back or dodge?
I think probably fight back, because she's
Okay.
going to hurt herself. What could go wrong in this room full of machinery? And
Possibly imagine.
I am handicapped by my brawling skills.
Yeah, you're both as bad as each other. So Mrs. Gilligan's saying something about not being hunting season and takes a swipe at you. And you're trying to hold on to her, but she's thrashing about her. She's sticky and slick from this liquid. So there's a comedic scene, and behind some horrendous beast has got its articulated claws on its head as it looks with dismay at the thing unfolded behind it. But yes, as that continues, we'll switch to the other side. The two of you note a figure in one of the similar suits that you recognize coming stumbling out, a panicked face behind the glass, gasping, and falls almost at your feet in the gravel, starts to like claw for the machine.
I'll put my foot on his chest and hold my saber against his throat. I would suspect you rather want to breathe, don't you?
And he nods as best as he can, pinned on the floor and gasping for oxygen.
Miss Voss, what do you think?
We might need some answers.
Yes, we're going to need some answers from you. Will you give us answers if we give you oxygen?
He's nodding as best as he can.
Okay. Does he look like a Nepalese gentleman?
He does.
He does. Okay, so yeah, why not? We'll give him a little taste of air.
Okay.
I'll help attaching the tubes.
Well, you're used to it now, right? You're experts in this. You've done it several times.
Obviously.
I will mind him, Miss Voss, if you would like to question him.
Okay, so let's start. What's your story? What do you have to tell us?
And after gasping and gulping for some time and getting some cool, refreshing air, he says, what have you done? The ritual.
What have you done? There is no ritual coming through anymore. You can try and save your life.
You stopped me mid-floor, you fools. We have to go. And there's a shadow passes across you.
and you both note a large winged creature. The thing you saw before in the rotunda, it looks like that, except not as decayed and fetid. It seems glowing. Its ovoid head, it suddenly lets out a burst of light, which almost blinds you.
Mhm.
Its wings flap in whatever atmosphere there is, and its strange ululating body seems healthy and vibrant rather than decayed. In one of its articulated claws is a blackened orb with coppery tendrils that wrap around the lobstered plate of its chitinous hide, and it points it in your direction. What do you do?
I think we should flee, Miss Voss. So
I want to push the Nepalese guy towards this creature.
He's collapsed on the ground with a foot on his chest, so he's not going anywhere.
we are not its target, and we have no quarrel with it. But it appears to me that it would deal with us as if we were just flies to be swatted. So please, Miss Voss, come with me.
Come in.
Okay. The problem that we have is that before we go, we need to unattach the tubes and then reattach the tubes. So just hold off a minute, if you don't mind. Can we just? There's something we need to do first. So I will rattle my saber at it, and hope that Miss Voss does my tube while I just try and defend us.
I will try to put your hand with the saber down, and while working with your cubes, trying to talk to this creature. Like, we come in peace.
Okay.
Trying to remember the language I was using to actually enter the portal. Pulling myself together. Я уявляю її 99-річною їжихою.
You're not sure whether this is what has an effect on it or it was going to shoot you anyway. But an arc of lightning coruscates out of the ball, aiming at the pair of you. Who's got the lowest luck out of both of you?
Probably me, 18.
Let me check. I've 27.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to make a dodge roll for me, please, Captain?
Yeah, he is also standing in front of me.
Oh, wow. There we go.
And he was stood in front of you, you say?
Yes. That is very true.
I'll let you make a dodge roll as well if you wish.
You're so generous.
I am a river to my people.
With a hard success, can I pull her to the
There
floor
you
as
go.
well? Oh, there we go.
It worked out anyway, yeah. Okay. So I'll say with a hard success, what you've managed to do is get behind the machinery, so you've got some cover if there's a further attack. Yes, Miss Voss, you managed to dive to one side as well, but perhaps not as well covered, a little bit exposed still. As this lightning burns into the rocks and creates like a glassy fissure down the center of it. And the Nepalese gentleman on the floor is starting to babble in a language which sounds familiar, like when you open the gate, it's something like that. And you're not sure what it's going to do or if anything, but he's desperately like trying to screw more tightly this oxygen pipe on and saying stuff as loudly as he can. We'll just pause there. On the outside, is there Mrs. Gilliam? Are you going to try harder to free your poor little bunny?
Yes, absolutely. Against the farmer.
And Farmer, what's your reaction to this?
I'm gonna realize that this is something clearly the thing has clouded her mind. So I'm gonna try and dodge out of the way of her attacks and disable this beast somehow by plunging my scalpel into its head.
Okay, well, we'll give Mr. Gilligan first go if you want to roll your brawl. Yeah, no, your vision is quite literally and figuratively clouded. Okay, Doctor, you don't need to make a dodge. You can just assault the creature if you want. You get a bonus die because it's pinned, but you're not quite sure what you're aiming for with your scalpel, so there's a bit pot luck with this.
Should I have a bonus? Is that right? So is that 24?
Yep. So you slash away at some of these fronds that drop to the ground and immediately lose the color. And there's an odd
ululating screech that comes out, and part of it you imagine is like actually in your head rather than the noise around the room. So it's not dead, but it's thrashing in agony. And Miss Gillingham, you know that the farmer's far from shooting the poor defenseless animal, he's just stamping on it and causing it pain and turmoil.
I'd just say the captain was right. We have to deal with this thing.
No, you're supposed to be a good guy.
He's clouded your mind.
Your mind is clouded. You're supposed to be a man of science, and a farmer. Somehow.
Mrs. Gillingham, do you want to make a sanity roll to see if you can make sense of what's actually happening?
Yes.
Oh, Hudson. Okay, yeah.
I am the only sane person here.
You suddenly have a moment of lucidity and clarity. You think, what am I doing? Why am I covered in black ink? What's happening? Yeah, so you can act pretty normally if you wish from that point onwards, but we'll nip back to the other side. Miss Voss, Captain Oakley, does one of you want to do something?
I don't like this person casting spells. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing, but Miss Voss knows more about this than I. So if you think what he's doing will help us, then I will leave him. Otherwise, I will run him through.
I don't think it will help us.
I will run him through.
Okay, he's pretty defenseless, so I'm not going to ask for a roll. You just give him the coup de grace, and he goes silent. And there's just the silent hush of the oxygen leaking from the sword wound in his chest. Miss Voss, what do you do?
Am I done with the pipe for the captain? Tube?
Well, it sounded like you were trying to ask if you were trying to be friendly, weren't you? And put his sword down, all that, and then you dove to one side. So
okay,
no.
then I'll continue to work with his tube.
Okay, it's going to be down to blind luck whether you can achieve it or not. So you can make a luck roll for me.
Yes, because I have so much luck. I was not spending it the whole game through. There you go.
So the good news is you get halfway, so you've managed to detach the oxygen pipe from him, but not reattach the new one yet, as the captain's trying to avoid being electrocuted. So again, this creature is going to zap you with its electricity gun. Do you want to make a dodge roll for me, please, Captain? I'll give you a bonus die because you've got cover.
Oh, so what do I do? Make a second roll?
You can click the bonus penalty box in that result, and it'll give you an extra D10. But it's still a failure.
Oh dear.
So momentarily, while you stand still to make sure you're going to put an end to this sorcerer or whatever he is, the lightning arcs from the black orb and just coruscates through your body. You take 3 damage.
Okay.
And can you make a constitution check for me, please?
I suspect so. Here we go. Oh, dear God. Really?
Okay.
I will spend my 3 points of luck to avoid being electrocuted.
To avoid having a heart attack. Yes. Okay. You feel your heart miss a beat in more ways than one. And manages to stay upright. You feel that the jerking and shocking might have upset Mrs. Voss's attempt to tie you back up to the oxygen again as you feel disabled.
I do apologise, Miss Voss, for being electrocuted while you're attempting to screw the tube on.
Please stand still.
Miss Gillingham and Dr. Drake, what do you do?
I'm going to first aid the creature.
I'll be like, yes, let's disable it as you rush towards it. Let's work together.
Okay, this is going to be a luck roll again. I think if you're lucky, you can achieve your goal of first aid, and if you're not, you're just going to make things worse. So that seems fair.
Oh, you can't spend luck on luck.
You cannot. Okay, the wound that the doctor's made, you plunge your hands as if you're gonna staunch whatever leakage there is, but just mistime it, and your fingers go deep into this gelatinous head and come out with bits of indescribable stuff on them, and the whole the Wheatfields thing drops immediately, and you can see yourself just plunging into darkness, and your vision starting to tunnel, and a loud shrieking that you hear from nowhere until you realise that it's you that's making the noise.
Doctor, how about you?
Mrs. Gillingham, I don't think that'll work. And she just plunged her. I'm like, careful with it. We don't want to kill it.
I'm trying not to kill. You're the doctor. Save it.
Does it look to still be? What state is it in?
It's still active. You know, with your medical mind, you can see that it's not got a brain in the normal sense. So she's not.
Right.
It's probably got some decentralized nervous system or something. So that's not a fatal wound, as you might have thought with some other creature.
Well, I think I shall try and just drag Mrs. Gillingham away from it, and just say, "Come on, you need to leave it. Let's go and let's go and categorize the fluids for a bit. That'll calm us down.
I
Let's
love
leave this thing."
categorization.
You've got your notebook, haven't you?
And you pull yourselves away to the laboratory to try and give yourself some breathing space.
Obviously, with a real, this is the moment when like the tube starts like getting the 3 tugs as we're in the other room. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Classic,
More than 3 tugs. It seems to vibrate to the tube at one point for some weird reason.
Rattling around everywhere.
Okay, in the dark caves then, what do Voss and Oakley get up to?
So I have my tube in. Have I done Miss Voss already? I can't remember.
You've not got your tube in. You've got your tube out. The new one hasn't been attached yet.
Ah, okay.
It got interrupted.
Well, while the tube is being attached, I'm fed up with this thing attacking me, so I'm going to discharge my dueling pistols into it. I'll stand very still, raise my arm, and shoot it.
You can. You don't need to make a roll. I've got bad news for you. That the powder doesn't ignite. So you take a good shot, but as the flint hits the pan, there is no ignition.
Oh dear.
It's just a loud click. Miss Voss, are you trying to attach this tube then to the captain?
Yes, please.
I'll let you make a luck roll again.
Almost?
It's almost there. You think if you stand still for a few seconds, you'll be able to do it. It's all the moving about and dodging. So if you elect not to dodge the next attack, then you'll get the tube on.
Me or him?
Well, whichever one you want to do. You can either do yourself or you can do the captain. But
No,
you'd have to
I'm
stand
doing
still.
on captain, but I'm like, can you please stand still?
Okay. The pair of you stand still then to make this happen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Hey, Miss Voss. You finally feel the seal join with a satisfying click.
Yay.
Oh, thank goodness.
And then you take 5 damage and make a constitution check as an arc of lightning hits your helm and penetrates through your flesh.
Will you look at that? I
Anything-
really want to leave.
If anything wakes you up a little bit, you're a bit baked up. So though inside this sealed suit you can smell your own burning flesh, that gives you the impetus to try really hard and move quickly. Okay. Do I need to keep checking back now with the doctor and Mrs. Gillingham, or should we continue in the case?
Yeah,
if there's something you wish to do, we can do that.
Oh yeah, we'll interrupt if something happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So, Oakley, you're now attached back to the real world, figuratively and literally. Miss Voss isn't.
Yes.
This weird creature's still floating above you and discharging electricity down on you, like an ancient Greek god dispensing thunderbolts. What do you wish to do?
Well, this attaching tubes is old hat now. I will glance over at the body of the Nepalese gentleman and see if I can learn anything about how to attach it quickly and efficiently, and then I will do so.
Okay, if you want to make another of your mechanics rolls, I think that's fair.
One day it'll work.
Yeah, you never know.
Haha.
Don't leave me behind.
Yeah, you immediately see that you've been cross-threading and trying to attach the female flange to the male coupling, which is, skill by error now you look at it, but until you see one working, you would never have guessed. Okay, you quickly reattach Miss Voss to an escape line, and presumably the pair of you start to flee
Flee. Yes.
back in that direction.
Mhm.
Unfortunately for you, as you thunder down, the leaks that you've had and the constant lack of oxygen and incorrect fitting in the first place are starting to affect you. So can you both make constitution checks for me to see if you manage to hold on or whether you have to stop to... Oh, okay.
Yes.
Very good.
Well
So
done, Miss Voss.
Miss Voss is probably fastest. A hard success. I'm going to say the lung bursting run is fine for you. The electricity shock was fine. So you plunge into the darkness again and feel yourself falling. And after indeterminate time, plop out back in the rotunda where you were. And although the captain's going to follow you, just as you're leaving, a last bolt of electricity strikes into your back
Oh, no.
for 6 damage.
Ouch.
Was that on me, presumably?
It was, yes.
Okay. I'm
And then
still
you hit
there.
the black
Yay.
tarry substance. Can you make a constitution check for me as well, please?
Of course.
Sorry to keep asking for the same roll, but
Oh,
okay.
thank you.
You don't have a heart attack, so that's all right.
Mhm.
Okay, so you plot through as well on the other side, although somewhat singed, and the brass connections on the back of your seat seem to have like melded together, melted, and you get the impression that you were being followed as well. So that's not necessarily the end of it. So Gillingham and Drake, you see these two come barreling through. They've got holes in the seat. There's blackness around them. There's smell of burning, and they looked like in quite a state.
I said, thank God you come back. Did you deal with the manservant?
Yes, but push that creature through and close the portal.
Oh yes, let's free him without the chains.
There's another, his brother or sister or friend is coming for us. If we can just push him back and close the portal, I think we'll be all right.
We'll do it, Mrs. Gillingham. You stand back.
No, I want to help.
Yeah, like try and push it through the portal. I think sounds like a good idea.
So you're going to have to release it from its bonds to do that.
Yes.
Everybody happy?
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the others are here.
What could go wrong?
So you're all presumably helping in that endeavor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask anyway. Out of all of you, who's got the lowest luck?
Me!
Anyone less than 18?
15.
No, 15 now. Okay. So you free the creature and it moves arthritically, and you're having to hold it up, and it's like its saggy, incongruous body is almost like subsuming you as you're trying to hold it and push it towards the portal. And subsume you, it tries to, Captain, as a mouth, for want of a better word, opens up in its thorax, and the fleshy, almost fungus-like substance seems to collapse around and try and grab you. Can you make a dodge roll for me, or
No table manners. Right, I think it's time to really just finish off my luck while I'm on it. So I will spend 6 points of luck.
yeah, I'll allow it. Yeah. The floor has got some a black pool of liquid that seems to have leaked out at some point. You're not quite sure what happened, but that causes you to slip and dip underneath its mouth and more
Ooh.
as you push it forward, and you push it towards the portal. And as it starts to go in, it then starts to get sucked and becomes quite easy as it just disappears beyond.
Hi.
Super happy. You get the sense that something's pushing back the other way, though, as the membrane undulates in when it goes and then starts to pull back again.
Oh, we have to erase the runes.
Miss Voss, this is your field of expertise.
Erasing the runes.
Yes. Chant it closed.
There need to be some words, it appears, as you try and erase the runes, but that's not enough.
Can I try and remember something from my code books to help us?
You can, yeah, make your occult roll.
It's a fumble.
Oh dear.
I wonder what
Excellent.
happens.
So, two things.
I know what to do. That will definitely help.
Yep.
You see, Miss Voss seems like alive with energy. I've never seen such a thing. The door scintillates, and she's picked up off her feet and just plunges like a lead ball through water, through this darkness to the side.
No.
And
What?
then a chitinous arm pokes through with a black ball. The membranous head with its filigree light starts to come through. And Miss Gillian, you see a creature, not like the one that you sent, but like it must be renewed. It must have bathed in this black stuff, and now it's alive and vibrant again. As this creature bursts through from the other side in exchange for Mrs. Voss's sacrifice. What did the gentleman do?
I'm going to chop the damn thing's arm off that's holding the ball.
Sure, make your saber attack.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you don't necessarily hack it off, but you do enough to damage the coppery fronds that are around it, and the sparks across the black ball, and then no lightning comes out, and it drops it with a leaden thump on the floor. Doctor, what are you doing?
I will, in the hope of doing something. I know that the machinery isn't the portal, is it? The machinery is just the environment suit, diving suits things, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to try and push this thing back through, just manhandle it now it's been distracted by that, back through the portal.
Yeah, sure. Make a strength roll for me, please.
Oh, yeah. I can push that, presumably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got like circumstances set up for you if you want.
Yeah, that's what I should do, isn't it? We've got to the point where we don't even have to encourage one another, do we?
I mean, given the rest of the adventure that we've been on so far, not pushing now will be gauche, frankly.
Yeah, play culture matters, doesn't it? Yeah.
Definitely
Hey.
full
There
parts.
we go, yeah.
Okay. At first, you're not sure which bit to like lean on. It's squidgy and doesn't it just gives. And then eventually you do push it through. So there's a moment there where it's kind of held back, but you realise that the gateway is still open, so it could come through again unless
So
someone can do something. So Mrs. Gillingham or the captain.
yeah, I am going to try and remember what Miss Voss was doing and emulate that. What would that be?
Working out how generous should I be with this? Do you think?
Okay, I have 25 in account, which is the base, I think.
That's definitely useful.
Okay.
Let's do that. Please, you suggested it.
Nope.
Yeah, I have to push it, obviously.
Okay, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do we even have to ask at this point?
The second pushed roll has always been successful so far this session.
Every
Just saying.
time. Yeah.
Every time.
Not always.
Until
Come
now.
join me.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
You remember with your eidetic memory perfectly what Miss Voss said, and exactly the same result happens as you disappear. Which leaves the captain.
We can only hope, Doctor, that they close it from the other side. A brave sacrifice indeed.
Indeed, should we leave this place?
I can't leave them. I'll have to go. You
Oh,
stay here to tell the tale, Doctor. And then I'll step through.
No. I will slightly protest, but then not. Oh, actually, yeah.
That, I feel, is where we should leave a story, with the doctor saying no and Captain Oakley bravely being swallowed by the inky blackness to his fate beyond. Thank you very much to our players. I think that's a fine ending and a great result for everybody. I hope you viewers at home enjoyed watching, and if you did, please do like, subscribe, share with your friends, tell people, leave a comment, and tell us what you would have done at the end there. Would you have stayed? Would you have helped? Would you have bravely sacrificed yourself? You know we like to hear from you, and it helps the channel out. So until next time, dear listeners, thanks for watching. This has been Unconventional GMs.